Hey there, folks. I'm Matt Hansen.
And I'm John Johnson.
And you're listening to
Planes, Trains, and Comic Books.
The podcast where we discuss favorites we've reread, both classic and new comics we want to read, and everything else in between.
And here's the comic we picked this week.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of
Planes, Trains, and Comic Books.
Today, we are stepping into the realm of evil. I don't know what the fuck.
The
pleasure and pain.
Yeah. Where pleasure and pain collide.
Yes.
We have such sights to show you, but actually just listen.
To hear you.
Yeah, that you'll hear.
Yes, your ears will be in pain and suffering and also pleasure.
Yes.
But yeah, so we are dipping our toe into Hellraiser comics. Now these are
spooky month. We got the new Hellraiser coming out this week on Hulu.
Yes, which I've heard good things about. I'm interested to see it. I am a giant Hellraiser fan, and by that I mean I've seen all the movies multiple times, and except for like the last two. I've watched the other ones before that.
The main
multiple times.
like the main Doug Bradley.
The main 8.
Yeah,
I believe. Is it 9?
Well, I think it's 9 with that new one, but I didn't.
No. It's 10 with the newest one. Yeah. Okay. So not the new one, but it's 10 with the ones before. There's Judgment, and then there was another one even of the new Pinhead or whatever.
Oh, I don't remember.
It was like a straight to Netflix bullshit or whatever. Yeah. So, but I think there's 8, possibly 9 of the original series that came out. Like the one, like I think Hell World for sure is like one of the end ones, right? That's the one with Henry Cavill.
Yeah, Superman.
Young.
All the best biggest actors. They all start out in some shitty horror film.
Yep.
So.
Sure, Kevin Bacon.
Yeah. The Hellraiser series has brought us Adam from Parks and Rec and
Adam Scott.
Yeah.
Is that his name?
Yeah.
The guy from Parks.
Yeah, Adam Scott. Yeah. Yeah, we had Adam Scott.
He was in Hellraiser 4.
Hellraiser 4.
Great.
Yeah. So
Hellraiser in Space / 1776 or whatever.
Whatever the year is.
So I have a good familiarity with this series. John, you've seen multiples of these, right?
I haven't quite seen all the movies yet because we started down that path because it was when your wife was in California. So
yes, I was like, let's watch these. She hates them.
So I brought over my wife, and I will say I really like them, and I definitely like the character whatnot. My wife is like she is down the Hellraiser rabbit hole. She is like almost to the point.
Like if there was a puzzle box in real life, she might be opening it right now.
She's autistic, so maybe I don't know. She's like, ooh, puzzle. No. but no, like she's close enough to like probably getting a Pinhead tattoo or something. Like,
oh wow,
yeah,
that's hardcore.
She got. I do have to say, I'll post a little link to it on this video. She got a pufferfish like model and then repainted it as Pinhead, but as a
So it's a pufferfish Pinhead.
Pufferfish Pinhead.
Oh, okay, there you go.
So, anyway, but she's all the way. I'm definitely there. I like it. I love all of the I think the third one is my favorite one because it's just so crazy.
The one where it goes downhill.
Yeah, with the guy. So
like
with
it goes like
CD.
1 good, 2 good, 3. What?
Okay, well number 1 is the best, but I really have a soft spot for number 3 because of how crazy the Cenobites are in that one. The guy with the CD.
By crazy you mean terrible. But yes.
Jesus wept.
CD head, whatever they call him.
Yeah.
So the reason why I kind of brought that up is because as someone who actually knows lore from Hellraiser, you do too.
Yeah.
I was confused as fuck with this comic.
I was too.
So it's so we read from the Omnibus, which is from Boom Studios. This came out. I remember it coming out like when I was in college in like maybe 2012 or 11, and I remember seeing it on the shelves and being like, "Should I buy this?" I was like, I don't know. I'll wait till I hear some good things, and I did hear good things, but it was like well, I don't have any money now, and also like it's already 8 issues in or whatever, so I'll just pick up the trade sometime. And we did that now, so it's 10 years later, about time. So yeah, I had heard good things, but I didn't know, and I hadn't heard enough from enough people to be like, oh, this is for sure good.
Yeah.
So when we read this, it starts off with a prelude. So it's technically it's issues 1 through 8, but also there's a prelude, so it's like 8.5 issues long. This first story arc, and the prelude I started, and it was just like no context for what's going on. There's just like a prisoner sitting in an electric chair and a priest who's like, open the box, and then he opens the box and he gets electrocuted and chains come out, and then that's it.
And then Pinhead shows up, and then it's like, priest,
and it was like, okay, issue 1. I'm like, I don't understand why that was there.
Yeah.
Why was the prelude there? And then issues 1 through 3 are pretty much the same feeling. I was like, I don't understand. Like, I was getting worried. Like, there better be a story sometime because I don't understand what's going on. Like, I couldn't tell you a coherent story for the first 3 issues. And then, what I could tell you is that they were setting up Kirsty, the main character from issue 1, or from Hellraiser 1 and 2. She's
back.
She's in 6 as well, I think.
Yeah, that's right.
She comes back for 6. She is back in this comic as the main character. She has a boyfriend. His name is Edgar. Yes. Then there's a couple other people that she hangs out with, named Bethany and Marcus and Alex, and all of these people are known as the Harrowers. They are people who have opened the box and somehow survived again, and they show how that's possible because. I don't know why they choose these people or like how they get them, but so if you open the box and somehow you make a deal with Pinhead before he rips you to pieces, where you say like, I want to stay on Earth. He's like, oh, you do? Well, like your soul is mine anyway, but I'll let you stay on Earth until you stop passing the box around or whatever, or passing things around. Because we also find out in this that there's more than just boxes that go to hell.
Yeah.
There's like objects. So there's like a music box and a carousel box, a snow globe, a bunch of other shit that are like, these are all like conduits into the hell world.
When I thought of them, because they didn't say it explicitly other than they're conduits.
Right.
But I thought maybe it was like the 8 levels of hell, quote unquote.
I don't think that's what they're going for. I think they're just things that La Marchand, the box maker from number 4.
Yeah.
He is supposedly made all these things.
Yeah.
So it's just like, oh, he just like made a shit ton of these toys that go to hell.
And they're all different. They don't all just happen to be a puzzle box. The puzzle box just happens to be the most interesting
one. The coolest looking one for sure. But so apparently if you have one of these, you make a deal with Pinhead because you're like, oh, I don't want to go to hell. He's like, well, really? Well, if you just keep passing this thing on to the next person,
maybe.
Yeah, you just stay
You'll
here.
Get to stay.
Yeah, you can just stay here as long as you keep doing that. But like apparently you got to do it like right away. Because like there's one guy was like, I don't want to do it this time. And he's like, what's it? Like, like, because he didn't want to pass it to like kids that were in front of him. It was like, can I pass it to some other people down the street or something? Or some like a bad guy or something? But no, that was not the case. And maybe that's what was going on with the priest at the beginning with the prisoner. Maybe he was like, you're bad. You're going to die anyway. Here's the box. I'm passing it on to you so that I can live. So I don't know. They don't say that though.
Yeah. You
just kind of have to figure that out. Also, you find all this stuff out about the passing of the thing in issue 6 or 7.
Yeah, I was like, we're only saying this because we read it all, and so we get the plot of it. But the first couple definitely felt like they could have been condensed because they didn't do too much to set up. It was a lot of setup, but it was kind of dragged out.
There's a lot of setup, but it also didn't make any sense. It was just like, here's hell, here's Pinhead, here's the other Cenobites, and they're talking, and what the fuck are they talking about? I don't know. And there was just like weird stuff that they just would talk about.
Yeah, the only thing that I really got out of those first ones that I was really getting is that Pinhead is basically, I guess, getting bored.
Yeah, he's like emo. He's like I've basically been so full of pain and pleasure that like my senses are gone now. Like I'm getting nothing from this, so I want to go back to Earth as like a person. That's like his goal.
Yeah.
So that ends up, and we don't find that out until like we find out that he's not content.
Yeah.
But we don't find out what the goal is or like what his plan is here, or that he even has a plan until like issue 8. So, so that's kind of like, oh, maybe they should have brought that in earlier to figure that out. But.
Well, no, because that's what he taught. Because he plays the piano or the.
Okay, so this was a cool thing. In hell, there's an organ,
and organ made out of
organ, and the pipe organ is the pipes are made of people,
human pipes.
Yeah, so when you like push a key, you just hear like ah, ah! Like I assume it plays some kind of ghastly music or something, but Pinhead will play it, and they just set up that he's malcontent, not that he's got a plan. I would say the plan part.
Yeah,
I get that he's not satisfied anymore, but Like they don't bring up the plan until issue 8 or whatever.
This gives me pain, which also gives me pleasure.
But also I feel nothing. So yeah, this is like we're getting just like a bunch of random kind of like scenes that show we see Kirsty. What's her name? Kirsty, right? I think it's not.
I think it is
Kirsty.
Kirsty. Yeah.
Kirsty is married to a guy named Edgar, and they have a pretty great relationship.
They get engaged.
Not yet.
Yeah.
They get engaged like in issue 8, right after he's like, well, bad stuff happens. But,
yeah.
But he's like, he tells her like, I want to get married. I have the ring, and she's like, no, not yet. I don't want to jinx it. I don't want to fall into that like boring marriage cycle now. If we like keep it always in suspense and holding out on the proposal, then like our relationship will be better. Because I'm assuming she's just fucked up from like her dad and stepmom and marriage and all that. So from Hellraiser 1. Also, another weird thing is she still lives in the fucking house from Hellraiser 1. I'm like, why would you live in the house from Hellraiser 1? It makes no sense.
Because I'm not moving. Pinhead has to move. Yeah. Dude, it's on principle.
Yes. So now that we're kind of like going through this again, there were little hints dropped that Pinhead was setting up a plan, but he doesn't say what he's doing. He just talks to a guy in a field. Like he comes to Earth, talks to a guy in a field.
And I think that guy, I guess, so his name is Samuel, and he
is just another one of these harrowers.
Yeah, basically, but he's like not one of the good group of harrowers. He's
not one of the 4 of Kirsty's friends or whatever. He's just a different harrower, and he'll give the fucking box to like little kids and shit. Here's a baby, here you go, open this thing. So like, he is in the middle of a cornfield because he's a farmer, and the field is in the shape of a box when you zoom out from above. So I guess that means that Pinhead can come through it like at any time. So he comes up, says hi to the guy. He says, hey, give this note to Kirsty, like leave it on her doorstep. And the note is just saying like, you know what? I don't even know what the note says. I can't remember what it was actually saying, but they get it. And then it makes them worried like, oh, Pinhead or someone knows our plan. So what Kirsty and the harrowers of her group are planning, or what they've been doing for the last 15 years or whatever, how many years, they are going around and finding these boxes and
other trinkets
that L'Armachand, the French toy maker, made to go to the Hell Dimension, and they're destroying them. But also they're like using them to call forth other Cenobites or demons. I don't know. It's weird. I didn't quite follow this story. Like Kirsty like goes to a family, has one of them open, like they kidnap the family or like tie them up, scare the shit out of them, and say like, open this or use the carousel. And I think maybe the dad had the carousel or something. Like that's why they went to this house. But they actually made them like open the portal or whatever, and then demons come out and murder this family, and as well as try to kill the harrowers. They get all stabbed and stuff, but Kirsty has a gun that's like a special 45 or some shit, and she shoots the carousel, and then it breaks it, and then it somehow kicks the demons out.
I think, then they stab the demon with some like blade.
Some special blade. I don't know. But like, oh no, she stabs it, and then she has like a tuning fork that she taps.
Yeah. And
that makes it dissolve or like break apart, like crystallize and break apart.
Yeah.
No fucking idea what this is. Like, this might as well just been like her saying random words or whatever, and then
she could have a spell book and the same thing, and
no idea why or what's going on, but we just know that she's getting Hell Dimension portals, and
that's one thing, especially with like glyphs being a thing and whatnot, like from like most lore and like Constantine and stuff. You would think maybe they would just do something like that, but
I don't know. They don't.
It's a little convoluted.
Yeah. So I don't know. We see a couple. Like one of the part where like the story starts to pick up is where Kirsty's boyfriend Edgar goes on a trip, and that guy that was in the field earlier with Pinhead, he takes a box, one of the puzzle boxes,
one of the actual puzzles,
the main one, like the one that looks like the puzzle box from the movie, and like puts it in. Does he put it in Edgar's luggage, or does she just come? Oh, no, that's why. He goes to the conference, the same conference that Edgar's talking at. He's sitting in the audience with this box.
Just out in the open.
It's like a Tony Robbins thing or some shit. I don't know. And then it seems like maybe he's an author or something, and he's giving a talk.
Yeah.
So this guy is in the audience, and then the boyfriend is the boyfriend is signing books, and then the guy that's in the audience comes up and is like, here's the box. And then he tells Edgar to like talk to his wife, Kirsty, and she knows about what this box is and all this stuff. And Edgar's like, what? Like, how do you know Kirsty? And at the same time in this issue, we're getting the backstories on all the other harrowers. So we find out how they became harrowers, how they opened their trinkets. Not most of them didn't have a box. One of them had a carousel, one of them had a music box, and one of them had a snow globe.
Yeah.
And like, we just see how they like murdered the little kids that were near them or all this, and they're all like teenagers and stuff, or at least younger. So.
Yeah. And I did like so every one of the Cenobites that comes through to those is all different and kind of loosely themed to whatever the item was. Like the snow globe was kind of like, he would look like a White Walker kind of like snow creature. My favorite was of all these weird ones was the one that was from the music box, because it was like about the gears.
It was like a cyborg,
and it was he looked like basically Gearhead from Rick and Morty.
Yes.
So that was pretty awesome. Or I'm sorry, not Gearhead. That's a racist name.
Yeah, I was say
Revolio Clockberg Jr. I made sure to find that name to remember
because we don't want to upset the people, the
gear people.
Yeah, the gear people. So now Eggers has this box, and he's in a taxi cab leaving, and while he's in the cab, without him like really messing with the box, it just opens and a hook shoots out, it kills the driver, and then Pinhead comes and steals his soul. And so that's like the impetus now for like Kirsty. She's got to find this guy, she finds out about her lover, but the way she finds out is because the box falls on the street after the car gets lifted up with chains, the cab does, and then the box falls out on the street. A homeless person gets the box, brings it to like this weird community of homeless people.
The homeless king.
Yeah, and brings it to his dad, who's the homeless king. The homeless king's like, no, keep it away from me. Get that thing out of here. But Kirsty is already on like the track of this box, and she is following like its call or whatever. She can like feel it or something. So she's going to it, and then there's this weird. Then we cut to the harrowers who have like a weird device. It's like a death mask that has like needles in the eyes.
Yeah, and I guess it can like show like people
like what happened, the last memories or something of the dead person. So you have to wear like this very steampunk looking mask that has like old school looking spectacles and shit on it, and then the death mask with the spikes in the eye holes. You push that into the face through the eyes, and then you can see the last memories of the person. So they use that on Edgar to see who gave him the box, and we see that he signed the book to Samuel Hess or Ness, either one.
Yeah,
it's supposed to be Sam Ness? That's weird.
Oh yeah,
Isn't
I guess
Sam Ness like the guy from the 20s, or is that someone else Ness?
I don't know what we were referencing, to be honest.
The old gumshoe or whatever, the guy we read a book about him.
Oh,
Torso.
Oh,
Elliot. That's Elliot.
Elliot Ness. Yeah.
Okay, there you go. I'm confusing my Ness.
No, I did. Yeah, I did. I was like, what? No.
Yeah. Anyway, so they find out who they need to get to. So in the meantime, Kirsty is following the box call. She goes to like the Hell King, and it just is. And this is okay. This was like my biggest problem with this is in the movies. It takes a long time to open those fucking boxes. Someone's got to sit there for like at least 30 minutes messing and fiddling with it. In this, you have it in your hand, you slightly rub it oddly, and it fucking opens.
It's like a genie lamp almost in the...
It's like you just have it in your hands and it just goes click, and you're like, what? And then all of a sudden chains come out. So the king hobo is like, hey, get that box out of here, son. And he's like, what, Dad? And then it just starts opening, and then all of a sudden chains come out and massacre all these homeless people and tear his dad in half. And then as he's running away from the chains and everything, and this is possibly the coolest scene in the whole fucking book.
Yes.
I just realized this might be the quickest podcast that we've done in a long time because we're almost done.
Yeah.
And we like that's how much there is no story in this. Like we've just gone through everything, and it's literally just bam, bam, bam. Because all the like the talking doesn't have anything to do with story.
Yeah, and mind you, again, we're talking about the story so far and like all the setup and whatnot. And like, yeah, there's been a death here and a death there, but like, especially for like pain and suffering and torture.
Yeah, there hasn't been too much of that.
There's been very little of that. Like
and
some
if they do
chains
show
pop
it,
out.
it's not very graphic.
Yeah,
for the most part. Like sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. I don't know. There was like a lot of stuff that it was just weirdly written, and then there was a lot of stuff that just didn't need to be in the book.
Yeah,
so,
it's like they pulled punches sometimes, and then like once or twice they were like, "All right, let's do
we'll
it."
We'll go all out. And luckily, this is one of those times.
This is one of those scenes.
So this is probably, like I said, my favorite scene in the book. So Kirsty is in the subway / sewer tunnels. I guess they all connect. The homeless kid is running with the box, and he happens to run out from a tunnel into like right where the train is, and he sees Kirsty, and she's like, "Throw the box!" And there's all these chains kind of behind her shooting out of the walls because Pinhead's trying to get the box. And she says, "Throw the box." And instead of that happening, chains shoot out and like kill the kid, I think. Right? They just like cut him in half. I don't know. They at least shoot out into where the train is coming. And the chains don't like stop the train or pull back. They just cut the train in half like they're lasers.
Yeah, they just cut through the train like it's butter. And not only the train,
all the people. We're talking like there's like 6 chains or something, and it's just cutting through at different levels in the train. So like, if you're sitting down, you're getting like the top of your head cut off, your torso cut in half,
your ankles,
legs, your ankles, your legs, whatever. Everybody's just getting murdered on this train. Possibly one of the best death scenes I've ever seen in a comic.
Yes.
This was almost worth it just for that, like reading this.
I reading through this and turning the pages and be like, oh my God. It was like, literally, it was like, where is this scene? And I need a new Hellraiser movie just to have that in live action because that's amazing.
Yes, for real. So I was wrong. The homeless kid does not get killed. He runs off when the train crashes. Kirsty follows after him, and when she gets to the end of the tunnel that he's at in the sewer, Pinhead has tied him up. Yes. And that's another thing I liked about this is I could totally hear Pinhead's voice. Doug Bradley, I think. Doug Bradley talking the entire time, which was very cool. So they have a good chat, between each other about like how it's been 25 years since she first opened the box, and Pinhead is saying that she's just as much of a killer as he is because I guess they've, killed. People have died every time they open one of these boxes in order to kill demons and stuff.
Yeah.
And you could see earlier it was like weighing on her, but I don't know. I guess it's more important to kill demons than the people. Yeah.
I do like because he kind of has like the early. This is you get that little early piece since we know the a payoff of it a little bit. He's like, I have like there's salvation for both of us at the end of all of this, and like basically we're gonna stand at the edge of oblivion, and I shall offer you either my life or yours. And it's like, oh, okay, that's a little foreboding. Like,
yeah. So we're getting a little hint of what's exactly going on with him, but he also tells her, take this box. I want you to go to this farm. The reason why you're going to go to that farm is because your friends who found out that Sam Ness was the guy who killed Edgar's, they went to that farm, Sam Ness's farm, and now they're all tied up, and you're never going to see him again. He wants the box because Sam has them tied up like as a sacrifice, ready to go, basically. So she goes to the farm. And I didn't know why exactly this was happening, but we start off the issue, like the last issue, with Sam going to a cow that's trapped in some barbed wire, and then he cuts the cow out of the barbed wire, but not to save the cow, which is like to get the barbed wire, I guess, because he uses that later on. He goes into the barn and he like wraps it around their necks, like the friends' necks, and they die, I guess. From that? I don't know if it's from that or if he just killed them some other way. But they're bleeding and their necks are wrapped in barbed wire. So I guess, I don't know, maybe he stabbed them to death too because he's got a knife. I don't know. I couldn't figure out why.
Yeah, because I thought the whole point was they're going to be tortured.
Yeah, who knows? But so she goes to the barn. When she gets there, Sam is ready. He's in like He's shirtless. He's got the Frank pose from Hellraiser 1 where all the candles are around him and he's in cross-legged on the ground. And he's like, Kirsty Cotton, welcome. And like he's waiting for her. So he brings her she brings him the box, hands it to him. And then she goes over to her friends. He's like, oh, your friends are over there. And they're already fucking dead. She pulls these masks off of them, like the bags that were over their heads. And she sees that they're completely dead, but it's too late. He's already opened the box. The Cenobites come. And then it turns out that Kirsty has set a trap. She set a trap because she's figured out, like, over all this studying and of the lore of this box and everything, like, you can make a symbol in the ground or above them, and it can, like, put them at least vulnerable, in a vulnerable place so that you could kill them, possibly.
Yeah, basically, they're there, but they can't quite use all of their hellish powers.
Yes. So I don't know when she did this, but she climbed up on the barn and drew the symbol that she needed, which is like a big circle with a bunch of runes on it, on the top of the barn. So when the Cenobites come, they're like, you think you have power here, but you don't have any symbols or whatever. And she's like, oh no. And then we get a cutout above the barn and we see, oh, there is a barn symbol or whatever, or symbol on the barn. And so as she's like, I got the better of you, of course, another Cenobite comes up and grabs her from behind. And it turns out that this is all actually part of Pinhead. I was going to say Swamp Things. Pinhead's master plan. He's going to work with Kirsty, and he hands her a knife. He walks over like, I'm going to sacrifice something. And then he like hands her a knife and he says, duck. And she ducks and she stabs the Cenobite that was grabbing her from behind. And he shoots out his chains everywhere and they start tearing apart all the other Cenobites. And also the guy that brought him there, that was the barn guy or whatever. So, and this was interesting. Like the female Cenobite that has like the throat vagina thing or whatever, like the
splayed open neck one,
splayed open neck and a very weird,
very odd way that it looks.
Yes. What's the opposite of phallic? It's the opposite of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's like in chains and she's like talking about like, oh, my love, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And she doesn't seem too pissed off.
No, she's basically like, you should have told me about this plan because I would have like gone with you.
Yeah, I would have gone along. It would have been fine.
Yeah.
So she like kind of offers herself as a sacrifice to Kirsty, and Kirsty stabs her through the neck hole, and that kills her, I guess. And
I guess so. Yeah, and she kills they have the Chatterer one too. I always like that one.
Yes, and she also kills the guy that was the barn dude with a shotgun. Somehow a shotgun appears. I don't know where that came from.
I don't know.
It's just a farm, I guess.
Yeah,
shotguns are just around.
Oh, he had a shotgun earlier when he went to check on the cow. So I think just over his shoulder.
Oh, okay. So then Kirsty's like, okay, actually, I'm gonna turn it on you. I'm gonna like point the gun at you. I think I'm gonna kill you. And then before that can happen, she gets grabbed by the chains and he's holding her up with the chains now. Now this part, I had no idea what the fuck was going on. So we cut to Buenos Aires, Argentina. To a person who's saying, like she's talking on the phone and she says, Edgar's gone and the others are in danger. I have to try to finish this and to meet whatever fate I'm owed. If I fail, I trust that you'll know what to do. I'm coming, mother. I'm coming. So she's talking to someone. Fuck if I know. This is Kirsty's daughter?
That's what I took from it. It's like, oh, this is Kirsty's daughter.
Issue 8 of this 9 or 8 issue story arc. We're just going to throw that she has a daughter in there somewhere. All right. I was confused. So Kirsty's daughter, who's named Tiff, I think, right?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Tiffany.
Yeah. So Tiffany, and I was also confused because I don't think I was like, is this her daughter or is this that girl from 2 that was also opening? I don't know. Remember what her name is. So,
but she's his mother. That's the only reason why.
She says mother, but the way that there was another part in this comic where Kirsty was saying like, oh, my daughter, like, or like saying like, oh, she's like my daughter about that other girl, I think. Because there was a picture of her on the dresser or whatever. And she was mentioning that. But then this girl's saying, oh, it's my mother. So I'm like, wait.
Like maybe
was that set up for this?
Pseudo?
Yeah, like they just call each other that, but they're not actually. Because, I mean, this girl looks like she is
She looks like
25 or over.
yeah,
So
very close to her Christie's age. Maybe not exactly, but you know.
yeah. And so I was a little bit confused, but either way, she goes back to the Cotton House, the original house from Hellraiser 1, and Kirsty's there. The box is there. Kirsty's freaking out, and she sees Tiff, and she's like, I don't know, they seem to be like fast friends or whatever. I don't know. I'm not quite sure exactly what the point of this was. We do find out that Tiff has been going around. She's one of the harrowers as well.
Yeah.
She's been like doing whatever she can to get all the different pieces of, you know, Larmachon box paraphernalia and stuff, all these little trinkets.
Yeah, I mean, she has the one thing I will say, it made her very much seem like a spy because she's like basically getting in with all these rich people who happen to like buy or possess these fancy items that and then take them out. So
yes. So I don't understand. I think Tiff goes in the center of this circle that Kirsty has made in the center of the floor, where it's like the attic where Frank came back in the first movie. The box is in the circle, so is Tiff. And then chains shoot out of the attic.
yeah, it looks like they come down.
And then they get Kirsty, but I'm assuming that Tiff is safe because they don't show her again. And then she's back in the barn. So like it's like he pulled her from the house to the barn. I don't know. I don't, like I said, don't quite understand exactly what's going on. So tell me if I'm on the right path here. All right. I'm banking on you knowing what the fuck happened here. All right. So she was pulled into the barn, but she's not actually in the barn. This is just like a vision or something where she's there, but she's not there because she instantly goes back once talking to Pinhead.
Yeah.
So in the conversation with Pinhead in the barn, where she's like not there, but she is there. He's saying like, if you want to like see your love again, Edgar, and all your friends, all you got to do is take my place. Like we'll trade places.
Yeah. Trading places.
Yeah, this is the
Hellraiser. Trading places.
Yeah. What are they going to talk about the stock market in this one? I don't know.
He made the same bet he did with the last Cenobite.
Yeah, there you go.
$1.
So that would be amazing if Mortimer and the other guy were in hell as Cenobites. Anyway, so he tells her, you know, let's trade places. That's what they need to do. And then,
but he's not going to force it on her. It's her choice.
Yeah, she has to choose to do it.
Yeah.
So she does. She opens the box and goes to hell on her own because she loves Edgar and her friends so much. And then the big key here is that Tiff is there. I guess this is why Tiff is there, although they didn't say it until this moment. She pulls out that fancy special knife that they used to stab a demon earlier. So when Kirsty goes to hell, they have destroyed all the other trinkets and boxes from Larmachon. This is the last one.
The puzzle box.
The puzzle box. So when Kirsty goes to hell, she leaves the puzzle box. Like it literally is like an elevator that she descends down, and the puzzle box is on the side near the elevator, but not going down with her. And Tiff, like once Kirsty goes down, Tiff takes the knife, stabs the box, destroys the box.
Yeah, she tells her to like, yeah, basically close the door behind her.
Yes, there is no way in or out now of hell for Kirsty or anybody else that's trying to find the pleasures of the box. Or whatever.
Yes.
So it has been destroyed. And this is why I think it is the girl from the fucking second movie, because we see the same picture that she was referencing before.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
But she doesn't look anything like the actress. So it's really hard to figure out if that's who we're talking about or not. I didn't remember what her name is because I don't remember if she even says 2 words in the whole movie in Hellraiser 2.
Yeah.
If her name is Tiffany, she wasn't like, "Hi, my name's Tiffany." It was just like some doctor saying it because she was like a patient at a mental hospital. So like she was just solving puzzles all day and said maybe 3 words the entire movie. I can't. There's like one scene where she says, "We got to go down here," and that's it. Like the rest of the movie, silent.
I don't remember.
So
it's been a while.
I don't remember what her name is, but I think this is supposed to be her, and they're just colloquially saying "mom" and daughter
okay.
to mean like we're that close or something. So, so now the puzzle box is destroyed, and now Kirsty wakes up and she's in a nice grassy place.
Yeah.
And she looks around. She's like, "Wait, what?" And then as she gets up, she realizes, "Oh no, I'm in hell." It's like the earth shatters around her, and she sees like a red dragon flying that probably was too much money for the second movie to show, because on a comic book you can show whatever the fuck you want. But we do see the Leviathan just floating, the crystal like floating and showing its light everywhere, and then the big maze, just like in Hellraiser 2. So she starts walking around the maze, and she immediately finds that fucking monster from the first movie that chases her down a hall.
Yes.
Where you can see like the people in the background pushing it because they didn't have a lot of money for that special effect. And so they see that guy who's like, it's like a big worm looking dude that like hangs from the ceiling and chases her. And apparently he's like a blacksmith or something. He makes the chains for Pinhead. Cause he's making chains, and then he looks up, he's like, ah, and he sees her and he's like, ah, and he starts to chase her. Just like he did in the movie, except you don't see the people behind him this time.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, a knife comes and cuts his stomach open. And it turns out, this doesn't make any sense because she fucking killed her, but the girlfriend of Pinhead,
she killed her and sent her back to hell.
Oh, and she just didn't kill her?
I guess that's
what I thought that's what the whole magic knife is for.
I don't fucking know.
Fuck if I know. Anyway, apparently, like John said, she just got sent back to hell. It's Hellraiser's girlfriend with the weird neck wound.
Yeah.
She's there, and she's like, oh, we must make haste. We got to go because, the preparations are made, and that thing's going to heal soon because this is hell, and it's not dead forever.
Well, see, there you go. That's why she's back, because she healed too somehow.
Sure. Why not?
I don't know.
So
it's Hellraiser. Don't think that too hard into it.
Yes. And then
that's what you told me.
Yes, exactly. We see she gets shown around hell, which is interesting. This was probably one of my favorite like explanations of this hell dimension. The woman says, the female Cenobite says, is showing her around hell. We're seeing these boxes that reminded me a lot of Cabin in the Woods.
Yes.
Where like the monsters are being kept. So there's like all these cubes that are clear. They're like prison little jail cells, and they're hanging on chains. And she says, oh, you see, all these people being killed over and over and over again in them. Well, we switch it up sometimes. We let them have a great party time in these every now and then. Remember what good things are like. Then we can take it away again, and it hurts bad again. So like you have to remind them of pleasure before the pain hurts again, because if not, you get desensitized, kind of like Pinhead is going through. So, so she's showing her all these things, and then we finally get to the Leviathan where Pinhead is playing his people organ.
She's taking her through like, okay, if you're gonna take this job, like this is basically, these are the workers down there, and then these are the hell cubes where you're like,
those are the union guys. They fucking never show up. Right? They're always sitting around. There's always a 10-minute lunch break happening somehow. I'm just joking.
I don't know why they need smoke breaks in hell, but
somehow, whatever. They're union. God damn it. So anyway, they go to the Leviathan where Pinhead is waiting for Kirsty, and this was cool. I thought like there's like a light bridge or like a glass bridge that they walk across to the Leviathan, which is usually just floating, and then all of a sudden one of the sides open from the Leviathan crystal, and it's a staircase that comes down, and they walk into it.
And I was gonna say, I assume this all has to be canon now, because I don't know if we mentioned like Clive Barker wrote this with Anthony DiBlasi, so like.
I mean,
all of this is official.
I'm going to say this. If a writer has another writer with him on a comic book, that usually means
I didn't write
my name is on the book because I created Hellraiser.
Yeah.
And then that guy wrote this book. So I don't know how canon this is. I mean, there's a lot of books that say Neil Gaiman on them that are not written by Neil Gaiman and have nothing to do with him. So Techno Comics or Techno, is that what they're called? No, there's some kind of weird 90s comic that had Neil Gaiman's name on it. Technophage? Something like that.
I don't know.
It's terrible. It's terrible. But he had nothing he just took a paycheck for using his name. So anyway. So yeah, I think this is kind of like that. We're like, can we use it? He gets credited as a writer because he fucking wrote and created Hellraiser, but he didn't actually write any of this, I don't think. He did a cover for the first prelude, though, which was cool. I like, original Clive Barker art's cool.
Yeah.
So anyway, they go up the stairs, and Pinhead's waiting, and he's like, enter the Leviathan. And all the one thing I do want to say is all of these issues have fantastic covers by Tim Bradstreet.
Yes.
Fan-fucking-tastic. Like, Some of my favorite art in this whole series is just the covers by Tim Bradstreet. He did a lot of covers for Hellblazer, and I was a big fan of those. And yeah, this like he's just the same. Like instantly, I was like, "Ooh, Tim Bradstreet!" Like before I even looked at the signature or anything, I was like, "Ooh, I like his art."
Nice.
So it's really, really good. But anyway, so we get the last issue now. Kirsty is brought into hell, where she sits on a chair. And he's like, "Are you ready?" And she's like, "Yes." Begin. Yeah, let us begin. And he takes a sickle, and Pinhead scalps her. I guess because she's going to become Pinhead, right? So, and then he like, he starts pulling the pins out of his head, or he sits down in the chair and she takes the pins out of his head, and then they fly onto the ground, and then she undresses, and I'm not exactly sure what's happening here.
I guess this is like partially inside of with the Leviathan. It has
tentacles.
Yeah, like
that come out. And
organy tentacles. Yeah.
They grab the nails. I'm trying to remember what it looked like when Pinhead became Pinhead, like in the second movie. I think they show it. I know they showed like a little arms come out and like with the pins and like going in his face. So I guess that's what these are. The interpretation in the comic are those little tentacles that come out. So. She is stripped naked. She gets like the carving on her face, like the what's it called? Fucking the
I know
longitude,
the
latitude lines.
Yeah.
There you go. And
it's the grid.
Yeah, the grid on. Thank you.
You know what? They have to space those nails evenly.
It'll look fucking weird if they don't.
Yeah, if they didn't have those lines, they would get all clustered together.
Look, if you're gonna be a Cenobite of hell, you can't half-ass anything.
That's
right?
true.
This is not, some mamby-pamby operation.
If you're going to show up looking janky and creepy in front of somebody, you can't look like, like it has to look.
It can't look like you bought it at Spirit of Halloween, right? It's got to look like a real goddamn monster mask.
That's right.
So she then gets turned into the new Pinhead. But
I do like she has a white cloak.
Yes, she looks very Asian inspired.
Yeah, it's kind of Geisha-ish.
Yeah. I was just Asian is what I was going for, but all right.
I'm sorry.
Geisha.
Well, I just meant in like the.
You're disgusting, John.
Excuse me. I wasn't trying to.
How sexist of you. Anyway, I'm just joking.
Wow.
Anyway.
Flesh.
Then there's like flesh raining down for some reason from the sky. Don't know why.
It's to cover Pinhead with new flesh, isn't it?
I don't know, because he doesn't get covered in it. Because all of a sudden, and this was the thing I was like, really? Like, you went from chains to cloth. So now Kirsty Pinhead, instead of using chains, uses her like robe cloth to tie people up. So I was thinking maybe this is, I guess. I think maybe this is supposed to be like really reminiscent of Jesus, and that's why it's a cloth. I don't know, but they definitely have Pinhead in a Jesus Christ
Jesus
pose.
wept.
Yeah. And, he's like, we're done. It's finished. And she's like, not quite. And she proceeds to hold him there while the arms of the Leviathan like feel around him.
And they put the skin on him.
Is that what they're doing?
Yeah, that's why the skin's all falling.
Dude,
everywhere.
I couldn't tell. It doesn't look like that's what's happening. They're just rubbing him.
Well, yeah, but that's holding pieces of flesh in the top.
Yeah, no, we're seeing like an arm. He has an arm, so I was confused.
It's his glove. It's like slipping on.
Yeah, I
didn't
didn't realize
that.
My bad. I didn't understand this shitty drawing. All right. So yeah, I guess he's getting the flesh put on him, but it looks like the tentacles are just about to rape him. It looks like it's hentai.
It does look a little hentai.
Very hentai. So Kirsty's getting kind of drunk on her power, and she's like, "Okay, this is why I'm here. Like, while your skin is being put on, I want to see my friends and Edgar." So she like calls them up from the depths because apparently they've just been waiting below, and he says, "Of course, every ruler needs a subject." Or needs their subject. So he's thinking, oh, she's going to turn them into Cenobites or whatever. But she just wants to see her friends, or at least that's what she says. But when she calls her friends up, they walk out of the machine, or the little, I guess the machine,
pod-ish.
the elevators, the single elevators. Hellvators. There you go. That's a fucking great name.
We coined it.
Yeah.
It's
TM.
Trademark Plain Trains and Comic Books.
Exactly. So the Hellevators come up, and the friends walk out of them, and they're single Hellevators. So each one comes out of their own, and we see the new Cenobites that they've become. And they look totally different than any other Cenobites that are in any other movies. I'm not sure exactly what the significance is of any of their beings, but they just look kind of like monsters. Like one of them's on fire. One of them looks like, I don't know, like a she-devil or something. Yeah. One of them's got like a cat face, like a saber-toothed tiger face. And then the other one, it's got like a generic monster face.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what their significance is. We don't know their personalities enough. Like in the movie, there's like a kid that talks a lot.
And he's the chatterbox.
And he's the chatterbox guy, or the chatterer. I always call him chatterbox when I was a kid. I don't know why. But
what? Chatterbox is
yeah,
good
he
too.
turns into chatter. And then there's like the guy who's the cameraman in number 3. He gets a camera head.
And the guy with the CD
DJ.
was a DJ.
The DJ gets CD face, all right? So yeah, I don't know what the significance is of these Cenobites, but she's pissed when she sees them, and she's like, "Oh my God, I failed you." And then she looks at Pinhead as he's like, now he's got flesh and he's ready to go up. And she looks at him and she points to him and says, "Hellraiser, tear his soul apart." And then her friends tear his soul apart, or tear him apart.
Tear him apart, yeah.
I don't know if now that he has a soul, he's 100% human or something or whatever. I don't know. So
they rip him up.
Yeah. Is he dead? We don't know yet.
We don't know.
We don't know because they just leave it at that. That's actually kind of like the end of the main part of this issue. Except we cut to the cotton house. And we don't know why.
I guess there's new people moving in.
There's new people moving in. It's been abandoned for like 6 months, they say, or whatever. So that was like the last time Kirsty was there. Tiff is gone. And the guy goes up to the attic. That's like a mover. And he's moving the boxes in there. And he looks over and he sees Pinhead. And he's out on the floor all bloody. He doesn't have, I don't know if he has flesh anymore, but he still has the like lines cut onto his face, the grid. So, and he says, "I am Captain Elliot Spencer." And that's it. That's the end of the issue. So they leave you hanging with like what exactly happened to, like what's going on.
I get they ripped him, but also sent him back to live out a life so he can come back again.
Yes. So that is the end of Hellraiser, the first 8 issues of the omnibus and the prelude. John, what would you give it and what did you think?
So having the soft spot for Hellraiser, like I was like, once it got going and once you got some of the cool deaths and
train.
Yeah, the train. And once you got more of like, okay, what the actual main plot is, I enjoyed it. The first, like, it was too long. This definitely could have been condensed a bit.
It could have been 6 issues for sure.
Yeah, 5 or 6 for sure. And
it could have been maybe 5 if you're like a really good tight writer, but 6 at the most.
Yeah, I mean, we will say from the years we've been doing this now,
yes,
6 issues is a good usually like way to get that arc in.
Yeah, even if it's a little bit over long, it's only 6 issues, so it's like, oh, that's not too bad.
Yeah,
but when you throw an 8-issue arc
9,
and a prelude,
basically almost 9.
Yeah, 8.5, whatever it was. It's like, come on, you gotta come on. Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, continue.
So, but coming in and enjoying Hellraiser in general and getting some Hellraiser-y things enough to where I'm like, okay, that makes sense. I like that. I get that. It was enough to piece together. That's what I'm saying. This is going to sound really awkward way to praise this. I feel like I jigsaw puzzled this comic together. And I puzzle boxed this, like twisted and turned the way I look at this comic enough to be like, to pull it away from me and be like, I enjoyed it overall.
Yeah.
But that being said, it took me a long time to get that puzzle together.
Yeah.
to do that. So I can't in good faith give it like a fantastic score. And it's also coming again from a soft spot of enjoying Hellraiser.
Right. You can give
overall.
an asterisk. You can give an asterisk rating and a not asterisk.
That's right. I don't give those very often. That's more of a Mr. Matt thing. But I will say overall, I would say this is like an okay read. I would give it probably an asterisk 5 because of my love of Hellraiser.
Really? An asterisk 5?
And I'm going to give it a 4.
Okay.
4. I think this might be one of my lowest ratings.
Really? Okay. Interesting.
I'm going to give it a 4. 4 overall. And otherwise, like I didn't have any problem with most of the art. Most of the art I thought was pretty solid. It got generic-y with the people. Sometimes it was hard to tell.
I just couldn't understand. I didn't know who the fucking people were. I was like, who's this lady who's saying my mom? I'm like, who?
They didn't distinguish them quite enough, I feel, especially some of the guys, because 2 of them had a beard.
Right. 2 of them had a beard. Like one of them was a priest. I'm like, okay, I know that guy.
I know that one, yeah.
And then one of them looked exactly like her boyfriend. And I'm like, And then they kept showing him back and forth, like cutting between stories. And like, wait
a minute.
Is that this guy or that guy?
Especially,
like, I don't know.
Yeah, especially when it was showing, like, I understood that it was showing each one differently and like how they got over their puzzle, trinket thing. But like showing them all through that.
While he's talking. And I thought, wait, is this going on while he's talking? Like, what's the fuck is happening here?
But again, I think there was enough in this that like because I'm a fan, I enjoyed it. Like, and I was like, okay, it's fun. I get
This is exactly like the movies. Like after 1 and 2, you just go like, I am into the mythos of this. Sure, 5's a big pile of steaming shit. Do I like it? I'll watch it.
Yes, it's one of those like. You know what? This is the first I will think. I have to. I'm thinking back of doing this for almost 3 years now.
I was saying this is actually better than most of the movies.
I feel like this is the first comic that I can think of that we've done off the top of my head. That's a comic so bad it's good. Like I'm like, I liked it enough.
Oh, I don't know if it's that.
No, because that's what the hell. Okay, well for me, that's where I'm going with it. It's one of those in the genre of like if you like a movie, it's so bad it's good. I feel like this comic had enough good stuff in it. Because in the lore, I liked that it was good, even though like overall, like it was long and kind of convoluted. But I liked it. Overall, I liked it. Would I recommend it to someone else? Unless you like Hellraiser, probably not.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So
4*5.
I liked it better than you apparently because I was surprised that you gave it *5. I thought you were gonna be like *7, and then because I don't know, you tend to grade higher than I do.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I don't have an asterisk on this. This really felt like one of the mid-tier movies of the Hellraiser series. That's not a regular mid-tier movie. This is a Hellraiser mid-tier movie. So if you're keeping score, that's like number 3 and number 4 is a mid-tier.
Yes.
I thought this had the same amount of story and craziness or like weird convolutedness that like 4 had and 3 also had. Where like
4 did have a really convoluted story.
That's the space one.
Yeah.
It's Hellraiser in space and in the 1700s.
Yeah.
It's both of those things together. That makes no sense. Anyway, I also liked this really did feel like it kept to the lore pretty fucking straight, like all the way down. Like I didn't feel like it was making up its own thing except the other boxes, like the other like trinkets or whatever. But I'll give him that. Whatever. It's not that big of a deal.
If the guy made one puzzle box, he might have made other puzzles.
We already know he made more than one puzzle box, but I didn't know he made like a snow globe.
A snow globe and a carousel and a...
So either way, that was the only thing I'm like, okay, they're just looking. They didn't matter. It was just like, oh, it's more than a box. We're trying to find these different things around. Why would everybody have this box or this type of box? Maybe they have a snow globe because they like snow globes, or they have, other stuff because they like other stuff. So, So I felt like this was just as good or as fun as 3 and 4 of Hellraiser once you got past issue 3. Issues 1, 2, and 3, and maybe towards the end of 3, it got better. But the beginning of 3, I was like, what the fuck is going on in this story? I was just reading. Where you just read and you're like, I don't know what's happening.
But you're going to keep reading.
I'm just reading. Like this person's talking, they're talking. I have no context of what they're talking about.
So you started out reading this like you would a book report. You're like, well, I got to keep reading.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then you're like, oh, thank God, it got better.
Yeah, once her boyfriend died, and that's like where the story kind of takes off.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I can grab onto this story. I understand kind of what's going on now. But for a while, there was just nothing. No story. It was just like random scenes flashing back and forth that were only like tied together by Kirsty somewhat. And that's it. Like other than that, like I was like, okay, I guess this has something to do with Hellraiser.
Yeah, I would say this, if you've never seen at least the first movie.
Yeah, if you've never seen
would be like, who the fuck are these people?
Yeah. This is definitely for people who have at least seen 4 movies because they talk about Lermashon's box a lot.
That's true.
And that's 4. So if you don't know that, you definitely don't know anything about...
This was only made for Hellraiser fans.
Yeah. So you have to at least see 1 through 4 to really get this book. And even with that, I've seen, like I said, 1 through 8 multiple times. Like, I'm talking, I have watched 6, 7, and 8 10 plus times.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I used to watch these a lot when I was like just in the background for funsies. So I don't know. I was really into this lore when I was younger. Like I thought it was super cool. I read like the Clive Barker book, like the Hellbound Heart is I think is what it's called. And yeah, it's just like really interesting mythology and lore that's in like really, really bad movies. It's spread out through those movies, you know. But this definitely was better than 6 and 7. I will say that. And no, sorry, this is better than 5 for sure too. 5 is terrible. Maybe 6 this might be on par with 6, maybe a little bit better than 6. 7 and 8, garbage.
I need to finish those this month. I think we need to
go for it. I'm down. But yeah, so I am going after all that, I'm going to give this a 5.
Okay.
I actually enjoyed like this reading. Like I said, there is an asterisk. If you've never seen Hellraiser, do not read this unless you've watched at least 1 through 4 once, at least once and recently, because you will not understand anything going on.
Yeah. So if you listen to this episode and you're like, oh, that sounds up my alley, go watch homework. Go watch 1 through 4 first, and then come and read this.
Yeah, and you will laugh at a lot of stuff in 4, which is super fun and it's super weird. It's kind of like the Jason X of the Hellraiser series, because it's in space. At least part of it is. And so, there's some fun stuff.
It wants to be Event Horizon, but...
It wants to be that. It wants to be Jason X, and it wants to be Alien 4.
Yeah.
So, like, all of those together is what Hellraiser 4 is. And it also wants to be Barry Lyndon or something that takes place in the 1700s. The Patriot.
The Patriot. Do you want to watch Jason X and the Patriot back to back?
Yeah, together.
Watch Hellraiser 4.
Jason in time. That's what we need. In space, then in time. He goes through a wormhole.
Oh, man.
I just wrote Jason 12. All right.
Hey, we just got the new Predator movie, which is like refreshing and like kind of like reinvigorating.
Yeah, because it's set back in the old days.
Yeah. So you know what? Jason hits a portal and goes back in time.
Jason gives King George a what for?
Jason hops in the DeLorean and
he goes back in time. Yeah.
Goes back to the Old West.
Yes.
With Doc.
So anyway. Yeah, I'm gonna give this a 5 if you've seen the Hellraiser movies and enjoy them. At least the first 4. I guess there was an asterisk. If you don't know anything about Hellraiser and you're just like, what is this Hellraiser I've heard so much about? And you pick this book up, you'll not know what the fuck's going on. It will probably be a 1 or a 2 for you. I enjoy this because I like the lore. So once I got past the first 2.5 issues or whatever, I was into it. And I finished this book or the first story arc going like, I'm going to continue reading. Like I thought that was super fun, which was a big change from how I felt at the beginning. So, I don't know. It was a bunch of mix of emotions.
Yeah.
And going through this as we were clicking through because we read it digitally, so we have it while we're talking here, and we're just kind of going through, reminding us what to talk about. And we were on like issue 7, and I was like, it's only 20 minutes into this podcast. We are burning through the story because there's so little actual story in it. So.
It's convoluted, but convoluted to a point of like you just don't really know what the fuck is going on.
Yeah, sometimes. I mean,
for the beginning,
and that's a lot of Hellraisers like that. It's a lot of imagery, it's a lot of feel and tone more than story substance. Like exactly what's going on in Hell in 2. I don't know. It's a maze. They don't explain any of it. What's that big crystal? They don't explain any of it. You don't know it's called the Leviathan unless you read the back of the book or whatever, or like the back of the box, or you watch later things that fill in those holes, So, there's a lot of stuff like that where it just gets filled in over time by like other writers or other people. So this is one of those. It did fill out some lore, and it kind of seems like this could be a prequel to the new one because there's a female Cenobite as Pinhead in the new one. So I don't know if there's like a transition period in the new one or not. I haven't seen it yet, but this felt like, this is like the prequel to that or something. Like, this is the bridge between.
I will say if Kirsty is the Pinhead in that would be really wild.
That would make it better. That would make this better because it actually fits in the lore, and this doesn't disturb any of that other lore either. Like it would fit in if they did that. So that's kind of interesting. So anyway. What are we reading next week, John?
All right, next week. So again, we're in our spooky month, and if you haven't yet, make sure to check out our Patreon sign up. You still have time to get on our poll to pick one of our podcasts this month. All newer horror comics come out in the last couple years. So there's a lot of fun stuff on there.
Yeah, I think we got like 7 choices you can pick from that you can vote what you want us to read at the end of this month for the last podcast of October.
Yeah, so definitely check that out. Next week, we're going to be reading The Milkman Murders, which I know nothing about.
I know nothing about this either. I just saw it, and it seemed interesting. It's like an indie murder mystery, I guess, or like crime book. And I mean, when I looked up horror, it was there, and I'm like, something about it struck me, and I was like, I feel like we should read this.
The title and the cover looked like simplistic, like, oh, shit's gonna go down in this one.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why. I was just like, was this like the Truman Capote book, like or something? But it's not that. So I don't know. We're gonna try it out. Like, this is like one of the few books that we've like both never heard of, and I saw it and was like, let's read that for some reason. So we're gonna pick.
Truly going in blind,
and it's like an indie book. It definitely looks like, it's it's definitely not from any of the major publishers. Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna check that out. And once again, if you would like to vote on our podcast to pick one that we're going to do each month, sign up for our Patreon. We got lots of different tiers there. We got a Hellblazer tier. So if you like the Swamp Thing Mets minis, I do my own Hellblazer one, not Hellraiser, Hellblazer one, where I'm going through all the issues.
Maybe a Hellraiser one now.
No, there's only 20 issues of this. Oh, okay. So actually, that might be good. I need to stop picking things that have 300 plus issues.
Yeah, that's true. I'm going to go through the whole run. How many are there? I haven't looked yet.
Yeah. No, I knew there was 300.
I know, I'm just saying.
I have them all, so god damn it. But yeah, so we're already on issue 41 as of this week. We're going to be on issue 41 of Hellblazer. So definitely check that out if you want. At patreon.com/planes, trains, and comic books, all one word. And what else is going on, John?
Just don't forget about all of our social media. We've got Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube for exclusive content. Matt is always throwing out stuff on there. I got some ones that pop up every once in a while, as well as one of our cohorts, Will. He's
every now
and then he pops his head up on there. So definitely check it out. We've got our TikTok as well. We've got some fun pickups. We're showing you like what we're getting every week. We're trying to get everybody involved more. So let us know what you're enjoying. Let us know what you'd like to see more of. And with that, I think we'll see you on the next one.
On the next one.
Bye.